I don't know if I'm gonna use this one actually. I saw in a video the other day that you're supposed to cut your flowers underwater. Like you should submerge them in water and then trim them like that so that they're not exposed to like air when you cut them. I don't really understand the mechanics of that. I really like putting like individual flowers into like thin bottles. I got that idea from Noah Daniel. I don't think he talks about it, but I follow him on Instagram. Honestly, I do everything that man says because he's so like composed and sophisticated and relaxed and zen. Basically everything I'm not. Hello everyone, welcome back to the kitchen. My name is Francisco, and today we are having a dip party. We're having a dip party because we are having people over. This is not a drill. I really have people coming over today. A dip party is sort of my answer to the age-old question of I have people coming over and I don't want to serve dinner. I'm not gonna do a dinner party. I don't want to cook, but I do want to have like nice, delicious things. There's no word for this in English. We have a word, a saying in Spanish, like picar, which is to pinch something. We are putting something that feels delicious, bountiful, and fun, but we are not overdoing it. We are not trying to impress anyone. This is kind of like my biggest pet peeve. I've seen so many articles and videos and content in general that kind of says like, how to impress your guests. If you are inviting people over with the expectation of impressing them, you're sort of already starting the night with a strange vibe. I don't know. I think that if you put out something that you like making, that you like eating, if you just kind of like land everything onto reality, you will also be relaxed. If they see you stressed and if they see you that you have this expectation of like impressing everyone, then they in turn are gonna get nervous and the energy in the room kind of shifts in a very unpleasant way, in my opinion. So this is where Dip Party comes in. Dip Party is exactly what it sounds like. We are going to make bowls of delicious, saucy dips situations. And I'm just gonna show you like my way of sort of plating it, presenting it. So throughout the night, there is always like little things so that your guests can keep kind of nibbling on and they can sort of combine all of this food with the little drinkies. Okay, so the first thing that I am going to do is I'm going to focus on my spicy onion and sour cream dip. I'm using 2 onions, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to look for long slices of onion. So I think that this is really nice and really something that like differentiates the homemade version with the store-bought stuff. What I like about like cutting it like this in these like rainbow shapes is that naturally you have variance, right, in shape and size. So like the outer ones are gonna be long and then the inner ones are gonna be shorter and kind of thicker. And I like that. I like that variation in size. And this is when a sharp knife really makes all the difference. My knife could be sharper, I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm just gonna take one day, one like Sunday, to just sharpen all my knives. No judgment here. So what's gonna happen is that these onions are gonna get caramelized. I am going to use a cast iron because I'm gonna be using a lot of oil here and my cast iron is gonna love me. So caramelizing onions takes time. There's no going around it. You can't up the heat because if you up the heat, then the onions are gonna fry, you're gonna develop color, but they won't caramelize. These are gonna go on low heat with a lot of olive oil and salt, and we're just gonna keep stirring them. We're gonna keep checking them until they are completely almost translucent. They have shrunk, they have developed lovely color, and they are sweet. They're caramelized. So part of the thing that I'm doing here, and I do want you to know this because I want you to think about this when you're cooking and you have several things going on at the same time. I am giving you the steps first that take the longest and that will require the least amount of active work. And in the meantime, I can continue working and I can prep everything else while that is happening. Can you hear that? You want the sizzle of the onions to be low. If the sizzle is really, really high, that means that your onions have started to fry and they are not going to caramelize. So I want that sizzle to be very, very gentle. I'm gonna turn down the heat a little bit more. The second thing that I am going to do is that I am going to make my beautiful fresh tomato dip. I really like these cherry tomatoes because they are season agnostic. You can find them any time of the year. They release their juices, they stay kind of whole, so there's a little bit of texture. That's why it's a dip and not a sauce. And you can find them at any point in the year. So like I have made this with cherry tomatoes in the dead of winter and it is delicious. So first and foremost, in my pan, I'm adding enough olive oil to coat This is about 4 tablespoons, I would say. So I'm coating the entire bottom of the pan, but I do have a small layer of oil that is pooling in the corners if I tilt it. To this, I am adding garlic. I'm gonna cook that in very, very low heat. And once I am happy with my garlic and it's beautifully cooked, I am adding my whole tomatoes. So the tomatoes are going to slowly start popping in the heat. Like the juices are gonna start releasing by themselves. We're not gonna do anything to them. It is delicious. It needs nothing else. Now transferring this to my heat, low and slow. So what the third dip is a beautiful avocado and basil mash. I know that I am making this in a molcajete, and I know that I am Mexican, and I know that this is an avocado, but guess what? This is not a guacamole. What I am going to teach you how to do is a beautiful mash with avocado, and it's very much like pesto alla genovese inspired, meaning that it has basil. It's not a pesto alla genovese, and it's not a guacamole. It's something in the middle. Stay with me. I want you to take a look at my onions first. Okay, so see how different they look now? They're not yet translucent, but they're starting to take some color. So I'm just stripping it from its stems here. And then I'll just start with small movements. As always, can you use a processor for this? Knock yourself out. As I am breaking down all of those cell walls, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start drizzling my oil, because if not, the basil will immediately start to oxidize. And the fat, what it does is that it envelops the herb. So think about the fat giving like the herb like a nice little hug. It covers all of those newly exposed cell walls, and it prevents them from going bad or oxidizing. You would think that you need to be way more aggressive than you need to with a molcajete. Like, you just need to drag the pestle down and it does all the work for you. It's beautiful. This is so soothing. Like, honestly, I understand if you don't want to get one of these things and you love your machines, but this to me is kind of priceless. More salt, and then I'm going to start adding my avocados. So just pitting them. This is when it becomes a little fun because there's no straight way of doing this. You just kind of have to feel. Just as the fat enveloped the herbs when we started mashing them, now we need acid to interact with the avocado. Acid, it's what's going to prevent the avocado from oxidizing and becoming brown. Essentially, if there is enough acid in your avocado, it won't turn brown. And that is my little tip to you. We're looking for a regularity. Dip Party is not perfect. It's not pureed. It has chunks. Dip Party has chunks. Finally, I am adding lemon. So lemon here works as our second acid, but most importantly, what lemon has that vinegar doesn't is sweetness. Delicious. Bit more salt. I'm sorry if you're tired of me saying it needs more salt than you think, but like, avocado really needs salt. And I'm gonna dip a tomato. Perfect. All right, guys, so my garlic is really, really, really soft and translucent. I know, because if I smash the back of my spoon, it just becomes a puree of garlic. So now that this is sufficiently softened and my oil tastes like beautiful garlic oil, I am now going to up the heat and I'm going to introduce all of my tomatoes into my pan, and then I'm just gonna let the tomatoes rest in contact with the heat, and you'll see how the tomatoes start to pop and release their juices by themselves. As you can see, they have taken on color. They are incredibly soft. I like for them to still have a little bit of integrity and not completely fall apart. Set these aside, and I'm just gonna let them cool. Can you hear my tomatoes popping, by the way? You want that oil, by the way. I want you to come look, see what's happening with my tomatoes. It's because these tomatoes are popping in the heat and they're releasing their juices that they are stopping the cooking from happening. So it is the tomatoes that come to save the garlic from burning, basically. And they, in turn, get seasoned with the garlic oil that we prepped before. So I think that's cool. I like it when like ingredients kind of team play, you know, and they're benefiting from one another. I like it. As my onions are cooling, we can start with dip number 4, which, to be honest, it's the simplest one of all. It's super, super simple. It's super easy. I am celebrating a friend's birthday today, and this is his favorite dip. What it is that it is a Greek yogurt, celery salt. Wait, what was it? A Greek yogurt, celery salt, and honey dip. I think that everyone really likes it because it's very cooling. Like everything else is like, or very intense, or very umami, or very acidic. And this is just like, kind of like very fresh. It's a nice sort of palate cleanser for everything else. Greek yogurt, a little bit of olive oil, salt, a little apple cider vinegar, celery salt, and honey. And that's it. Simple, but honestly, it doesn't need anything else. It's perfect the way it is. It is delicious. I can understand why this is my friend's favorite. Please give it up for dip number 4. Are we still cooking? Yes, we are. All right, stay with me. Guys, now that my onions have rested, it is time to assemble my sour cream onion dip. Seasoning with a little bit of salt, adding some black pepper, and thinning out with a tiny bit of apple cider vinegar. So when you have something that is as fatty as this, you want to make sure that it has enough acid. If not, it's not gonna taste like much. All right, tasting. Wow. What I get the most here is the toastiness of the onions. It's all of that time that they spend on the fire. That's what they're bringing to the table. And you can't replicate that. And then finally, I am serving with the leftover oil and just a tiny bit of chili flake. That is a dip. My tomato sauce looks absolutely beautiful. I want you to come see. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna smash it just a little bit further, and then I'm just gonna let it cool. I'm just reducing it a little bit, making sure that the steam escapes, seasoning it with salt and with a bit of white wine vinegar, again, to bring it again to life. All we need to do now is serve everything that we are going to serve with our dips. I'm going to serve everything with some potato chips. They're Kettle, they're salt and vinegar. They're my favorite. This isn't sponsored. I just freaking love that product. Kettle, call me. We gotta talk. I am also serving everything with some fresh bread. I am going to broil it with a little bit of olive oil. Bread, fresh bread, good bread. Do not underestimate its power. It is the building blocks of the party. The energy shifts when it's gone. Bread. You can't run out of bread. I'm also gonna do a little bowl of marinated sardines with some herbs, with some scallion. You can swap this for any sort of jarred fish product that you like, but I love sardines. I think we need to bring sardines back. I think we need to make sardines chic and cool again. So are you with me? Let's do this. Let's serve. Let's have a dip party. Ooh, I cut myself earlier and now I'm squeezing lemon juice into my injury, which is really raises the stakes, you know? Guys, we're gonna need a bigger bowl. Like I was fighting it so hard. I'm gonna add chili flake. It's like begging for heat. To anyone that is like not sure about sardines, when you marinate them in so much acid, I promise you they come back to life. They're not oily, they're not even fishy, they're just delicious. It sounds like we are ready to serve. Guys, give it up for chopping board, she's leaving us. We need the counter space. I'm serving with a little bit of cold grapes. Always serve fruit. People need the brightness, people need the acidity. I'm gonna switch this here. I have bread, I have potato chips, I have cold grapes, I have tiny little spoons everywhere. I'm gonna start with celery dip and a little bit of salad on top. What's really important here is that everything needs to go well together. If I choose to do a little bit of avo spread with a little bit of tomato sauce on top, it needs to work perfectly. And it does. Sour cream and onion. Honestly, classic, but like for a reason. The avocado and the salad go great together, FYI. There's something about like the tomato sauce and then like a grape. I know that sounds insane, but well. Guys, I hope I made my point. Like, I hope I made that, like, that you can remove whatever you want from this. You can add cheese if you want, but like, don't make it a cheese board. Like, make it a dip party. Dip parties are so much more fun. Like, there's nothing like a carb and dip night, you know? I hope I gave you enough ideas so that you don't feel like when you invite people over that you need to serve like dinner. Please let me know if there's anything else that you would add that I didn't add here. If you like the video, if you like the recipe, please interact with the video. It helps me make more of these. New videos come out every week, but I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for sticking around. Ciao. I need this coffee before starting. I'm not going to lie. I can't believe it's 12:30 already. Like, it is disturbingly late and I feel like I've done nothing with my day.